I'm Casey Kane.
I'm Darren Pittman.
I'm Bubba Wallace.
I'm Kyle Larson.
I'm Joey Logano.
I'm Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
I'm Rusty Wallace, and you're watching 3 Wide Life.
Hey guys, I'm Megan Kolb, and you're watching 3 Wide Life. Today, we've got a great show for you as we hang out at BK Racing with Matt Dibenedetto. Matt has had quite a journey in his racing career and has certainly experienced the highs and the lows in the sport. Matt even got to a point where he was going to throw in the towel and thought that he was done with racing for good. But there was something that kept him going and got him to where he is today. Let's learn more about Matt's story and what drives him to get to the track each week.
Matt, I first met you at Hickory. You were racing a late model. I had a conversation with your father, and he said that you were going to make it in racing regardless of the situation. You weren't bringing money, you weren't, writing checks, you didn't have this huge corporate backing. And here we are today, you've made it. You're with an awesome Cup team, you're running top 20. Take me back. What was going on in your mind then and kind of the journey to here?
The way that I got here, what I tell people is it was like winning the lottery twice in a row. I mean, it was just insane. Like you said, we were running late models, and we weren't even practicing on new tires, just old tires, and then throw on stickers for qualifying for the first time. And we were definitely doing it on a small budget. But we'd win races, ran well. It's just, it was tough. And then finally, at the end of 2007, we quit racing, done. We were like, all right, way beyond our means. We can't afford to do it anymore. Luckily, some teams heard about it the next year. I got picked up by another late model team, and then we won at Bristol and a bunch of big races right off the bat. And then my dad, like you said, he's an adamant guy. We quit, but he was like, you get out there and keep pushing. And
so you were still at the track networking and just like letting people know you still wanted to drive and kind of doing the behind the scenes stuff that people don't really see.
Yeah, through all that time in late models, through some funny connections, I got to know some of the guys at Gibbs because when I raced late models, we actually beat one of the Gibbs cars for the championship, one of their developmental deals. So that's kind of how we got to know some of the guys at Gibbs, got the word around there, and then I kept in touch with the folks at Gibbs and JD Gibbs, and I emailed every week. I was persistent every week, and then even when we thought the racing was done, I told them I still wanted an opportunity, and they had been keeping their eye on me, and then luckily I got a shot to drive for another team next year, and finally, long story short, I ended up getting a test with Gibbs at the end of that year, and that's what kind of got me my in there and started that part of my journey.
Yeah. Talk about that opportunity. It went well, but it also had some road bumps that could have set you out of racing forever, really.
Yeah, it's crazy. I kept in touch with them for so long, and I got that opportunity. The test went well, and then I ran some K&N races for them, and we won right off the bat. We ran half the races for the year and led the most laps of anyone for the whole season. It was just, you feel like you're on top of the world and everything's going so well, and you're like, oh gosh, what could go wrong, But I was really young, real naive, and if I could go back, and redo it, I would have done it much different. But I'm glad it all happened the way it did because I had to learn the hard way for some really important life experiences. And so when I ran there, I won the races and then got some opportunities in the Xfinity Series, or then called Nationwide, now Xfinity. First race, we qualified like third or so, and was running second, got hit on pit road, had to go back to the front, and then ended up getting involved in a wreck. But we had a crazy day, but we were fast, and the guys were like, holy cow, that was incredible. And then the next year, it just, anything that could go wrong just went wrong. And I was like, what's going on? Is this just not meant to be? What am I doing? Things would break. We'd get in a wreck before the dang start-finish line to start the race. It was stuff I've never had happen in my whole career, and I didn't have the experience. Really, I was still just kind of out of late models. I was young, and I didn't do things right at all. I kind of took it conservatively and was like, I just need to learn. They'd tell me these things, and no wrong to them. It was just they'd be like, go out there, learn, get your feet wet. And I will never do that again, because now it's changed how I drive. It's changed, my outlook on racing, my outlook on life. It changed everything. When I get in the race car now, I'm either going to the front or crashing. And I mean, it may seem extreme, but you do not get in a race car. And my crew chief, Gene Need, is like very adamant on it. And it's good to have the support of the guys behind you. If I go out there and crash a car, they're like, good, at least you're trying. I learned the hardest lesson of my life, which is you need to be, as my crew chief says, standing on the gas at all times. That's what people and teams and our guys want to see when they put in all that hard work and bust their butts all week, every week, all weekend. I feel like I owe it to them that you get in there and you make sure you're getting every 100th of a second out of that car every lap, and that's my job. And long story short, that's everything I learned from that experience and losing everything and having to regroup and start over. And now that I've gotten here, I will not let it slip away.
We're hanging out with Matt Dibenedetto at BK Racing, and so far we've learned a lot about Matt's racing career. I think by far the most important thing that we've learned is that when given an opportunity, Matt has taken advantage of every situation and definitely made the most out of it. Let's learn more about Matt's career.
Well, the Gibbs opportunity was unique, and we had Jason Leffler on years ago, and he talked about when Coach Gibbs came up to him and said, you have the whole year. You're going to wreck more than you've ever wrecked. You're going to run in the back more than you've ever run, but you're going to learn all year. That's not the way it is now. You were given 2 or 3 races a year. So how hard was that to come in completely cold and run in a car that's been winning with Kyle Busch or whomever else, to jump in and have that expectation? It seems almost impossible.
Yeah, it really is tough for younger guys nowadays, especially aside from the sponsorship side of it. I mean, it's, they have a business to run, and it's tough. It costs so much money. Like you said, the expectations are really tough. And I mean, you don't get those kind of opportunities like in the old days where it was really a developmental deal and you have developmental drivers and you get in and learn, you're going to crash. I mean, heck, even Jeff Gordon, one of the best there ever was in the sport when he was growing up and starting. I mean, he crashed a lot of cars, and it took him some time to get used to it. And then, of course, we all know how incredible he is. So, but nowadays, you don't get those opportunities. You don't get those chances. And luckily, I feel like overly lucky just to have a second shot at it. I mean, I didn't do a very good job when I was at Gibbs. I didn't race properly. Wasn't aggressive enough. I mean, just didn't do it right, and then had to regroup and completely start over. And it's it's crazy even talking about it and thinking about it, how it happened.
You left Gibbs not because you guys had a falling out, but the opportunity was gone. The sponsorship was gone. They weren't really developing drivers. You had to make a hard decision, and you ended up starting and parking a lot of races just to be at the track. Talk about that decision making and how you mentally allowed yourself to do that, because a lot of drivers just say, I'm not going to do that part, but it led you to something else.
Yeah, man, some people honestly thought I got beat down for it a little bit. Like, you're crazy. I can't believe you're wasting your time. You're starting parking an Xfinity car, you know. But I was like, I cannot live the rest of my life, you know, wondering, what if I would have done that? Or, you know, what if I couldn't live thinking I didn't give it 100%.
Right.
So, and after you lose it, then, I mean, then you really realize, like, man, I can't believe I let that go. And then that's when I'm thinking, I wish I'd have done this, I wish I raced harder, all kinds of things. So, but yeah, so starting over, I got a phone call from Curtis Key, and he asked if I would start and park his Xfinity car. And that's definitely a big change of pace compared to going from Gibbs, feeling on top of the world, you know.
Right.
I jumped on it. I was like, yeah, of course, you know, absolutely. I need to be in a race car. I need to be at the track. I need to have my face shown. So, so I went and started and parked, and then it turned into, you know, qualifying the car, and then we were, and it was good. I got experience. Then I got to go to every racetrack.
Right.
I hadn't been to most of them.
Sure.
So I got to go to every track, you know, practice a little bit, qualify the car, and just start and park the race. But it was laps.
Right.
It was experience. So, and then it got to the point where we would, you know, qualify that car like in really good spots. I mean, sometimes like we qualified in the second round and like qualifying top 24, and
Sure.
we'd make 2 laps of practice and then just go qualify. Some people started noticing, you know, when we're up qualifying, like one of the races, I think Bristol, we qualified right next to Chase Elliott, and we're riding in the truck together, and people are like, what in the world? You practice like 2 laps and, you know, qualifying up like front to middle of the pack. And so it got some attention. So I'm like, well, it's cool. You know, people are noticing even in a starting park that we're qualifying this thing where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And my guys worked hard on that thing. We all worked together, and it was cool. And then, so then it turned into, when we were doing that and qualifying well, then Curtis Key gave me the opportunity to drive their 40 car, which raced every race.
Sure.
Same deal, on a budget, but it was an opportunity. Race, get a lot of laps, get a bunch of seat time, and then same deal, started racing that car, and we got some of the best finishes they'd had in years. I mean, like 11th at Road America, 13th Mid-Ohio, and I can't remember, you know, 16th Kansas, but like running
Sure.
real respectable for that car.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like all of a sudden, okay, you know, things are starting to pick up a little bit, and then people were noticing, wow, you guys are running really good in that thing. And then you know, it's crazy, at the end of that year, which was 2014, season was over, and Curtis Key's team was moving to Cup stuff, and I was like, well, man, now what? I thought my career was over again, and then I got my opportunity with BK Racing.
Matt Dibenedetto has worked hard and has made the most out of every situation in his racing career and is now running at the top level of the sport with BK Racing. While he was overwhelmed in the beginning, he now has a year under his belt and is running competitively. Let's learn more about what's next for Matt Dibenedetto and what he's focusing on right now.
So tell me about the call you got from BK and how excited were you that now you've gone through the late model team shut down, then you found a new ride. The Gibbs thing went away, you found a new opportunity. That went away. So like you said, you won the lottery how many times now? Tell me about the call you got that you were going to actually run Cup. I mean, how amazing is that?
Yeah, that was the craziest, coolest day of my life. So we, on top of the Gibbs stuff was amazing, and then this was equally as cool. So I, at the end of that season, like I said, thought I was done, but I had gotten in contact with Ron Devine, our race team owner at BK, through some mutual friends. So I got in touch with Ron. I reached out to him, and he had heard my name quite a bit, and I was like, hey, before the season was over, I was like, hey, just want you to keep an eye on me. I'd love an opportunity. So started bugging him every week. I mean, every single week I kept in touch. And then I think what honestly pushed it over the edge was JD Gibbs actually called Ron for me.
Oh, wow.
Put in a good word because he knew that Ron was looking at giving me an opportunity, and then JD called, and that was really cool. He didn't have to do that, and he did. Now I'm here. Now we're racing Cup. Now we're competing for running top 20s,
Yeah.
and it's just great. It seems like it happened so quick.
Where's your mentality? I mean, are you feeling comfortable in drivers' meetings now? You're sitting next to a Jimmy Johnson or a Tony Stewart, and you're like, yeah, I raced with these guys. Are you at that level? You feel like this is where you're supposed to be?
It was a little overwhelming last year. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But coming into here, it's just so totally different than running Xfinity. It's just so big. There's so many people, so many fans, and then you're racing with the guys that I grew up watching. And so it was overwhelming. But now, after having a year under my belt, and now especially, this year we fired off real well, and passing some of these guys that I've looked up to my whole life, and competing with, some of them running up in the top 20, and running really competitively. And now I feel a lot more comfortable, and which is good. Now that stuff's kind of not on your mind, and really my whole focus is just driving the wheels off the race car, and really that's about it. So I'm just focused on doing my job. I can really critique the car a lot, and feel like I do a much better job of dialing the car in with my crew chief, and our communication's great, and everything kind of slows down after you've done it for a year. Everything slows down. It's a lot easier now. It's exciting and more comfortable.
Good. So this new package, talking with teams at Homestead last year, I heard a lot from some of the smaller teams, or from some of the teams that aren't spending $1 million a race, like a Hendrick, that this may level the playing field a little bit because there's less downforce, driver gets involved, tires wear out. Have you found that so far? Is that something that you've enjoyed?
It does put it in our hands a little bit more, which is what we want. I mean, if we could, short of taking the whole body off the car, to take all downforce away, I mean, the drivers are definitely advocates of no downforce. Like, we like them sliding all over the place. We like them handling terrible. I mean, better than everybody else, but it does make it a little easier for the smaller teams like us because some more old school principles come into play, and you just need overall grip, which is cool. It brings you back to the old late model days. Like, hey, we need forward drive. We need some grip off the corner, and makes it easier to pass. You don't, when you're going 200 miles an hour, you're always going to get, aero tight and stuff. But it's not as bad. You can close up on cars more and not just get up to them and then car completely take off. It's
Right.
not as bad, so you can close up on them, get them a little loose, move them.
Yeah.
You can race a lot more. The groove widens out more. The tires are softer. They fall off a ton. By the end of the race, it feels like you're 10 seconds off the end of the run feels like you're 10 seconds off the pace.
Nice.
So it's cool. I'm excited about that direction.
Matt Dibenedetto, who is currently running with BK Racing, talks more with Mike Garrity about his racing career goals and how he plans to achieve them.
Tell me this year, I know last year, your first year in Cup, you probably had different goals. What are your goals this year, and where do you see yourself at the end of the year?
Yeah, last year was definitely a lot different. Last year when I stepped into the 83 car, there was really we didn't really have a crew assembled, no dedicated crew chief, anything. And
Wow.
Doug Richard stepped in and did it. And then throughout the year, we're building a team. So it was tough. So our goal was not have anything fall off the car, finish solid, and we did. We ended up, pretty much every week we finished all but one race the whole year. And we finished solid. We had some good runs. We had some breakout runs. Darlington, we running in the teens all day, and we ended up 25th, ran out of new tires, but that's another story. But Gene Need stepped in at Indy, which was at the end of July. And that really picked up our program a lot, and we really had started having some really consistent runs.
Yeah.
So then fast forwarding to this year, I feel comfortable. We have new cars, we bought all new chassis, we have better bodies, low downforce package. I have a dedicated crew, I have a good teammate, David Reagan.
Sure.
It seems like everything just is in a much better direction. We're still a small budget team, but for what we spend, we've spent it in the right areas. We've improved a lot. And coming in this year, I really didn't know what goals to set or where to expect to run. I mean, I was like, okay, things look good, but you don't want to get overly optimistic. But we've fired off this year with a lot more speed than last year, and we've been fast at all the races for us. Those are top 20s for us are like wins. So if we can, you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but if we can take advantage of those good days and run top 20, at least top 25, and have solid runs, like those are really respectable runs for a small team on 10% the budget of the big guys.
Last question, if BK shut their doors at the end of this year, do you feel like you've made it? Do you feel like you've done enough? Would you go do something else, or would you just keep digging and doing what you're doing to get back in a race car?
I've learned I can't live without some sort of racing in my life. If people have seen how hard I will dig to make sure that I stay in the sport, it's just my whole life, and I'm really, really competitive, and it's just what I have to do, and I'm going to do everything I can to stick around. So no, I'm never going to let myself ever feel like I've made it, and that was part of the learning experience when I was at Gibbs. Never get comfortable, because then if you get comfortable, then I feel like you'll relax your brain, and then you won't try as hard. I don't care if I've won championships like Jimmy Johnson or something. I will never feel comfortable. I'm like, okay, I've made it, I'm good. No, it's at all times it's going to be 120% in the race car, digging like my life depends on it, and I think that's the only way that I'll stick around the sport and be successful and have a long career.
Standing on the gas.
By standing on the gas, as my crew chief Gene Need says before every race. I get in the car, walks up to the window, it's no pep talk, no kind of speech. He leans in. And last week he changed up a little. Usually it's stand on the gas. Last week he said, you see that pedal on the right over there? Stand on it. So it's some sort of stand on the gas, and that's going to be my life motto.
Well, good, man. Good luck this year. Congratulations on the journey, and we look forward to seeing how it goes.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
going to do it for another episode of 3 Wide Life. Thanks so much for checking us out, and a special thanks to Matt Dibenedetto and BK Racing for letting us hang out at their shop. If you guys are on social media, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where we are constantly providing you with cool updates from the track and all around the garage. Until your next race, keep living the 3 Wide Life.